Hey everybody, Rob Maurer here. Quite a few stories to go through for today. We're going to start out with some news out of China. We have the first delivery in the US of a 2021 model year Model 3, Tesla Semi news, Tesla Energy news, some tweets from Elon Musk, and a couple other stories as well. We'll start off with the Made in China Model Y. This is some news that was developing at the end of last week. As far as I know, Ray for Tesla on Twitter was one of the first to report on this, and that is that Tesla has completed the registration process for the Made in China Model Y with the China Ministry of Industry and Information Technology. So that was on Thursday, and then Wuwa on YouTube has posted a video from Friday that shows a camouflaged vehicle driving around the Tesla Gigafactory in Shanghai, which strongly appears to be a Model Y. We've seen a camouflaged Model Y in China on a trailer before, but I don't think we've seen one at least this clearly at the Gigafactory as of yet. So that was Thursday and Friday, and then on Saturday, Tasmanian posted an article saying, quote, Tasmanian's reliable source said that the Giga Shanghai will begin production of the Model Y by as early as the end of November. End quote. We've long been speculating here that this would happen for Tesla in Q4, which would be well ahead of certainly at least analyst expectations, and with the vehicle now being registered, prototype seemingly being spotted on site, combined with a report here from Tasmanian, things seem to continue to be pointed in that direction. Tasmanian also writes in this article, quote, according to information from Tasmanian source, the maximum production capacity target for Model Y in 2021 will be 5,000 units per week, which means that Giga Shanghai will produce about 20,000 Model Y per month, approximately 250,000 units yearly, end quote. So again, that report was from Saturday, and then over the last 24 hours or so, we've had reports from multiple Chinese media outlets, which have been covered on Twitter by a number of people. Here we'll look at D. Couric, who has been helpful with some of this stuff in the past, who on Twitter writes, quote, Tesla China 2021 planned production capacity at 550,000 units, 300,000 Model 3, and 250,000 Model Y. Among them, 100,000 Model 3 and 10,000 Model Y to be exported, China media citing unnamed insiders. Tesla already sent order demand to the core component suppliers, one insider said. Tesla, no comment yet, end quote. From a second tweet, it does look like Tesla did respond to the story, saying that they're not able to comment on any specific production numbers for 2021, but that the Shanghai plant development is going smoothly. Alright, so let's talk about that a little bit. So far this year, the best production months from China have been about 12,000 vehicles or so Tesla's pretty close to about 150,000 per year, annualizing that. And here they are trying to grow production capacity to about 550,000 next year. So that's essentially what Fremont is capable of outputting. Tesla lists the production capacity installed at Fremont at 590,000 currently, up from 490,000 earlier this year. One of the most important things to remember though when we talk about capacity is something that Tesla added to the shareholder letter, in particular this quarter. They said, quote, installed capacity does not equal current production rate. Production rate depends on pace of factory ramp, supply chain ramp, downtime related to factory upgrades, national holidays, and other factors, end quote. So first of all, this 550,000 production capacity number is just a rumor at this point. This has not been confirmed by Tesla, though I do think it's more likely than not that the rumor is accurate. But even if that is the case, it definitely seems to refer to production capacity, and it could be at any time over the course of the year, meaning maybe December of 2021 is when Tesla finally hits installed capacity of 550,000 from Shanghai. And even then, the production rate might be lower. For some context here, we're now approaching a year out from the start of Model 3 production at Gigafactory Shanghai. And again, the annualized production capacity has been approaching 150,000, though in the Q3 letter, Tesla now lists their current installed capacity for Model 3 from Shanghai at 250,000. So we should see that production rate uptick in Q4, and those Q4 results, as well as what we have seen so far from Model 3 in Shanghai this year, should be a really good benchmark for what to expect from Model Y next year. Wrapping up with China, we do have October numbers starting to come in. So the China Passenger Car Association has reported Made in China Model 3 sales for October at 12,143 vehicles, up about 7% from the reported 11,329 in September. So these monthly numbers out of China are always a little bit confusing because we seem to have sort of two sets of numbers being reported. One seems to be more production focused, with the other seeming to be sales. In this case, I think this number is domestic sales. So something that's important to keep in mind is that during October, Tesla reportedly exported at least 7,000 Made in China Model 3s to Europe. So because I believe this is a domestic China sales number, those Model 3s would not be captured here. I'll be keeping an eye out to see if we get any numbers related to production, because as always, I find those numbers to be more interesting. But I don't think we can simply just add the 12,000 sold domestically in China to the 7,000 or however many ended up being exported, because by now they have built a decent amount of stock in China. I believe around 4,000 or 5,000 units. So looking at sales and production in one given month isn't going to tell us the complete picture unless we know how that inventory number changes as well. Either way, still most curious about those production numbers because Tesla reportedly added a shift this quarter. And of course, they say they have that 250,000 production capacity, which is more like 62,500 vehicles per quarter, where for the last couple of quarters, we've been seeing production reports of about 33,000 from Shanghai. All right, next up here, we have some news in the US. We have what I believe to be the first delivery of a 2021 model year Model 3, which has the sort of mini refresh changes that we have discussed, the black trim, the new wheels, updated center console, heat pump, etc. If not the first, at least one of the first that I've seen it. So this was delivered in Utah to new owner David Narayan, and he put a video up on YouTube about it. So those of you that want to see a little bit more detail on some of these changes, I'll put a link to that video in the show notes. One of the things we have been curious about is whether or not the rumors of a heated steering wheel were accurate or not. I think the only place that we've really seen that reported was Electrek, sort of when the refresh happened. I don't think anybody else has reported on that, but David Narayan here in the YouTube comments says, quote, "Also, as far as I know, the steering wheel is not heated from what I've looked into with mine," end quote. This is a standard range plus version, so there's, I guess, a possibility that maybe that would be different for the all-wheel drive version, but that seems to be looking less and less likely. I'll know for sure when I take delivery of mine. As far as an update on that, nothing really new. I'm still seeing an estimated delivery date between November 20th and December 18th. Next up here, we've got some news on another big Tesla semi order. Pride Group Enterprises out of Canada has placed an order for 150 semis, with apparently the option to increase that to 500. Even at 150, that is still one of the largest orders that we have seen for the Tesla Semi, and specifically for Pride Group, this seems to be an even more significant potential investment. On their site, they say their logistics business has 260 power units and 640 trailers, so 150 would already end up as more than a third of their fleet if they did keep the other 260 units. Alongside the investment, Pride Group Enterprises CEO said, quote, "Pride Group Enterprises' vision is to invest in facilities that will support charging, full service maintenance, and a consistent supply of electric trucks on North American highways. We have firsthand knowledge of the transportation industry across multiple verticals, and we strongly believe that electric truck technology will overcome many challenges facing traditional diesel technology, such as the related maintenance and associated downtime," end quote. Speaking of overcoming traditional technology, we have news from Australia, again this was late last week, that Tesla will be again working on a massive battery project in partnership with Neoen in Australia. This is not just an expansion of the Hornsdale Power Reserve, this is a new project. This will be in Victoria, in Geelong, so a completely different area, about 10 hours away for those that are not as familiar with Australian geography. And this should be more than twice as much capacity at 450 megawatt hours, 300 megawatts. Victoria's Minister of Energy noted that, quote, "By securing one of the biggest batteries in the world, Victoria is taking a decisive step away from coal-fired power and embracing new technologies that will unlock more renewable energy than ever before," end quote. And she also cited the Hornsdale project, noting that independent analysis has shown that every $1 invested in the battery should deliver more than $2 in benefits to residents and businesses in Victoria. The Hornsdale project was given as an example, which has saved more than 150 million Australian dollars in the first 2 years of operation. Even though this was just announced, the battery is supposed to be operational by the end of 2021. All right, next here we get to hear a little bit from Toyota on their opinion of Tesla. There are some humorous quotes in here. These were said by Toyota's president in response to a question on their recent earnings call. He did first give Tesla a lot of credit, saying they can learn from them in terms of their ability to profit from software, fully electric vehicles, and renewable energy products, but then continued on to say that Tesla's market cap is now higher than all 7 Japanese automakers combined, and that, quote, "Tesla says that their recipe will be the standard in the future, but what Toyota has is a real kitchen and a real chef," end quote, adding, quote, "We are losing when it comes to the share price, but when it comes to products, we have a full menu that will be chosen by customers," end quote. Topping all that off, he said, quote, "They aren't really making something that's real. People are just buying the recipe. We have the kitchen and chef, and we make real food," end quote. All right, well, I don't know, maybe we can give them the benefit of the doubt and hope that something is getting lost in translation here, but it seems like a super defensive comment and really belittling for not any reason. I'm pretty sure Tesla is making real food. I'm pretty sure they've got a pretty awesome chef in Elon Musk, Franz von Holzhausen, etc. They've definitely got a kitchen, and if Toyota hasn't noticed, they're working on building a few more of those kitchens internationally. So weird comments there from Toyota that don't really inspire a lot of confidence that Toyota is going to be heading in the right direction anytime soon. Moving on, let's just quickly catch up on a couple of tweets from Elon over the last few days. The first is on Giga Berlin. Elon was there at the tail end of last week to recruit what he called ace engineers for Giga Berlin, and he asked people to send resumes to 25guns@tesla.com. I'm not really sure what the 25 guns thing is a reference to, and I haven't really seen any great speculation on that, but if you happen to know, let me know. The next update was on Project Dojo, so this will be the automated labeling system for Tesla. Somebody on Twitter asked Elon for an update on that. He said version 1 is about a year away, adding in a separate reply, quote, "We rewrote all labeling software for 4D, very different from labeling single photos. Dojo won't contribute for about a year. It's mostly a generalized neural network training computer, but benchmark we're tracking is frames per second. Must beat next-gen GPU/TPU clusters, or it's pointless." End quote. Last thing on Twitter is an update on the electric vertical takeoff and landing jet idea that could someday materialize, but probably not yet. Elon says, quote, "Enough already on my plate and Tesla's. Maybe one day we'll do a prototype. Those are relatively easy. Volume production with high reliability and low cost, and passing all regulations is 100 times harder." End quote. So pretty much status quo there on an electric VTOL, maybe someday. Next is an update here from a noted AMD leaker at Patrick Schur on Twitter, who over the weekend tweeted that Tesla wants to use Navi 23 for their cars. Navi 23 is a GPU, graphics processing unit, produced by AMD. If this rumor is accurate, this would not be to replace the full self-driving chip or anything like that. This is completely separate. This would be for media control, and this chip from AMD could theoretically increase power efficiency or allow for more advanced games or something of the sort. Those sorts of developments will be increasingly interesting to follow as we head closer and closer to autonomous rides. Okay, last quick thing for today is on Rivian. Somebody on the Rivian forums noticed that there was a little banner on the top of Rivian's website which said, quote, "Our configurator is launching to pre-order holders on November 16th, end quote. It looks like that banner has since been removed, so it could be inaccurate or potentially just posted a little bit too early, but we'll have to keep an eye out for that next Monday. That'll do it for today then. As always, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, sign up for notifications. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Tesla Podcast, and I'll see you tomorrow for the Tuesday, November 10th episode of Tesla Daily. Thank you.